need one now. Need your personal brand. So if you want to have a personal brand, it has to be searchable. It has to be Googleable. And that is one of the most important things. Recently, what I did was I took Scoble's list. All right. So if you know Robert Scoble, Scobleizer is his handle on X. Look up his lists. He's got, so the list can only be a certain number of entries. So when he's got founders and it's 3 lists, founders 1, 2, 3. If he's got AI companies and it's 8 or 9, that means that each one of them has whatever the number is. I forget the max, but he is curating that on a daily basis. Anytime he finds something new or interesting or whatever, or somebody comes across his feed, he looks at it, processes it, and adds it. And now he's got an AI that's doing the same thing. So I stuck my OpenClaw system on Scoble's lists and said, turn Scoble's lists into my CRM. And I made my own CRM on my own system. And I just started capturing and gathering all of that contact information. Then my OpenClaw system takes each one of the entries, because it does about 15 a day. Finds out the leader, their actual name, their company, their contact information, writes a little bio about their company, and puts it in my CRM. And then every single morning I get a list that says, here's the new 15 people, here's the thing. And by the way, here is what, from doing the research on them, here's their most likely pain. Here's a customized message for each individual person. That's what my OpenClaw system does. And right now I'm trying to figure out how do you, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but yesterday, Sonnet 4.6, Grok 4.2, ChatGPT, man, they all came out with like an update in the last 3 days. And this is the space race. It is just like the space race. It is the fastest, who can get the most amount of processing compute to give the highest level of inference, to give the highest level of precision in results. Information cost is 0. Let me go back one more step. Little deep dive here, but back to my stupid example. What are all the companies, let's say that are 3 million, between 500,000 and 3 million in ARR in Orange County and San Diego County? That's it. Just give me a list of those. Okay, if I'm going to ask Justin, hey Justin, how are you going to find that? He's going to go to Google. He's going to ask the question. Somebody's done the research. Google will tell you where the list is. AI will go to EDD, the Franchise Tax Board, to the tax records, to the county records, to the land system, to the business registry, to the blah, 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 to the tax records, and then go to do other Google, and then go to Google, and then go to that, and then it does all of that at the same time, and then says, by the way, here's the answer. It's about this many. And you, okay, list them out, and you go, yeah, do you want it in a CSV file? You want it in text? What? And it will do that level of precision, but it does it so fast that if you and I did that, we would have to figure out what is the FTB board, where's the EDD website to go get the list, where's the tax records for Orange County, what's the URL for that, how do I find it, we'll have to search. It would take us a day or 2 or 3 to get a reasonable answer, and ChatGPT or any one of the LLMs, doesn't matter which one, they'll give you an answer in 10 seconds. Information is free. You can't compete with that. You can't out-research it. What you can do is prove it's being ridiculous or hallucinating. But there are ways you can ask it 4 or 5 ways to get the right answer or get a reasonable estimate of what you're looking for. It is shocking. So if you're talking about getting leads, wisdom through which channels, There are ways to get leads per channel. And then the systems right now, and I'm using systems instead of AI or LLMs, just the systems right now are good enough to tell you what type of information you want or the type of outreach you want to do on each one of those levels for each one of those people. And like I said before, mine creates a bio of each company, and then it creates a custom identification of inference based on what you think their pain is. Is it resourcing? Is it cash flow? Is it delivery? Is it product fit? Is it stalled leads? Any one of the kind of normal business problems, and then customizes messages with their name and their information about their topic, about their pain point. That's how I'm using OpenClaw. And I can tell you right now, just using those words I've said and telling your OpenClaw system, I want to build one of these things, is bigger, better, and more valuable than any other lead generation system there is, because you can make it custom for you. Yvonne can say, I want to know every single SAG actor, and I want every single person that's been an extra, and I want from only this studio, this studio, this studio, this studio, because they're the only ones working in the local area, because that's where the people are. You could start creating your own kind of lead searching, scraping system. And it will work. There will be some percentage of error because these are machines. They're not people, and they're fallible. But is 80% good enough from I've got nothing to 80%? From 80%, can I refine that 80% to 72% with a high likelihood of precision? These are the things this is what I'm doing with these AI systems. What I'm targeting is companies that have chaos that need operational help. That's what I've been doing for all my life. Basically, you have something that's working, but it's not working very well. I make it better. I make it smoother. I make it more efficient. I make it faster. I make it deliver consistently, predictably, dependably. And that's what I do. And I do that by getting attention, by personal branding, by creating process and structure, creating leadership. All of it above comes down to one thing. You only need that kind of stuff if you're trying to deliver something with a team and you can't quite get it done. So that's how I've been using OpenClaw, and I strongly recommend everybody go make their own, whether you pay $6. And by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, hit me up and I will send you the Andy Easy Guide on how to get started. It doesn't tell you everything to do. It just says, go here and read this, and then, or go download this and turn it on, or use ChatGPT to tell you how to plug it into this. And go in your closet, grab an old machine and plug it in and turn it on. It's worth it. Anyway, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. So what's the next progression for you? Like, you have the leads, like, are you going to be calling them? Are you going to be messaging them, emailing them? Like, what's the next progression?
It's a multi-channel outreach, mostly cold. So I have multiple domains that I send emails from. I also have, like subdomain, prime domain that I'm sending emails, outreach. I'm trying to set my OpenClaw up so that it identifies every tweet, post, X post, or tweet or blog, so that I can instantly go engage and respond with them, so that my DMs are a little warmer than cold. So that's my plan. And my plan is, as always, my high precision mark is 10,000 targeted clients, so that I can do 100 outreaches a day, so that I can get between 5 to 10 of them to engage with me on that day, so I can pitch them. And if I can do that 100 days in a row, I should be able to get 3 to 5 clients. And 3 to 5 clients would be exceptional. So that's my plan.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Andy. Yeah, man. I can't say that I've set up OpenClaw yet. I'm still behind the eight ball here, but yeah, man, it's been exciting to hear your journey and your next move. We got Jason Digital out there. It's all about your next move, as Jason likes to say. So, yeah, we'll keep us up to date on, how that goes. And yeah, I mean, Wisdom Wednesday today is all about, how do you get leads and which channel. And yeah, Jason's a real big master at, getting leads for clients on X, and would love to hear from him if he's available, but he's probably on dad duty. So, but shout out to you, Jason. Good to see you. Yeah, let's jump over to Yvonne, but welcome to the stage, Sherry as well. But yeah, Yvonne, welcome. How's it going today?
Hey, hey, happy Wednesday. Oh my goodness. It's awesome. Just speaking that into being. Andy, I love everything that you were sharing because I mean, I love AI. I use it all the time, and everybody's all a buzz about it. But I'm kind of like the same with you, Justin. I'm just trying to stay focused, you guys, right? Like there is an information overload, and I. I'm like, there's so many different things that I can freaking do, and I have a clear path right now. But I love what you were sharing, just because like there's just so many things that you can be doing, right? So I'm like, kind of. Hey, Yvonne, one thing. Here's another thing that I do. I haven't talked about this. I curate my news. I don't watch the news. I don't listen to it. I curate it. I have a sequence of things that then create all. It goes through like 4 or 5 different sites that I like, and it grabs the things that I've given it parameters. Anything in this kind of world, in this kind of space, in this kind. Now, just make a list for me to go look at, and then I read the headlines, and then I delete the whole thing, and I don't care. But my OpenClaw system does that too, right? I have the, my primary objective is focus. Um, James 1:4 is my favorite verse in the whole Bible. Consider joy when you have problems of many kinds, because it creates your perfection. And what it does is it creates you to persevere so that you can become perfect, lacking nothing. But then here's the part that's really amazing. In James 1:8, it says, if you act wisdom, if you lack wisdom, ask for it, and God will give it to you abundantly. But don't ask. This is the part that's a key. Don't ask as a double-minded man who looks in the mirror, can't recognize his face, or like a boat tossed by the wind. Act. And then it does it different. But the way I look at it is singular focus. If I'm double-minded, if I'm like, oh, this or that, oh, this, oh, that, no, 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 no. So if my goal is to not be a double-minded man, to be like the servant who was given the 5 talents of gold and goes out immediately and does business, those are immediate, singular, focused activities. So I use my AI in every possible way to eliminate every other distraction possible. And anyway, I think you can do the same thing. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. I already have so many things to ask and share because I can talk about my leads too. But what I was wondering, that's fire, because that's exactly what I'm focused on doing. Like you said, asking with intention, right? Like I do that all the freaking time. Like I will ask, I will when I and essentially it's a prayer, right? Where I'm kind of like prompting God, prompting my subconscious to be like, how do I do this? Yeah, how do I resolve this problem? So thank you for that beautiful reminder, because I didn't think about it in regard to something like that. I'm not gathering leads right now. There are a lot of different ways for me to get leads. Thankfully, I've been in the business for so freaking long, like even in person and stuff. I have a huge network of actors already. But I'm also wanting to target specifically people who are new, that, aren't necessarily SAG-AFTRA and things like that, because I'm going to be educating them on a lot of those things, but also because that's kind of like my base, where I really want to be able to educate those people, even if they're not in LA or New York, obviously LA being the prime market, but even if they're not in LA yet, because I want them to be educated as much as possible so they can be prepared as much as possible before they up and move to LA, so to speak, right? So they're not breaking the bank. Like there's just so many levels to it. But one of the things I was thinking with OpenClaw, and I was curious your input on this, because mine is mainly actors, right, with that main core business that I have. And one of the ways that I was looking to do that, like I have my assistant that I work with, but is even like Reddit. I know it's kind of crazy, but like actors, like they're not as business savvy. That a lot of people that want to get into, or just in general, right? But they're not as business savvy. A lot of people who are new and stuff, they're always looking for auditions and things like that. Sometimes I've had like audition contests. Like one of the things that I am going to be doing with my newsletter, with my company, just as an avenue. It's kind of cheesy, but it sounds kind of like an American Idol thing. But I want to be able to start featuring some of the actors that I'm working with, like, right, giving them that exposure. So the more that my reach expands there, I'm going to be doing something like where, like when I feature like really big actors or directors and things like that, like depending on where they're at in their journey and stuff like that, that's one of the ways. It's kind of like an incentive of something that I'm going to be doing for people. I'm really excited about that. But one of the things that I was thinking is like on Reddit, there are places, I don't really go to Reddit like a lot because again, like it's, you can go down so many of these damn rabbit holes. And again, like you were saying, that not being a double-minded man, right? I'm really trying to focus. But one of the things I was thinking is say like Reddit or even Facebook, like things like that, where people are like, I want to do acting. I want to get into an acting class or something like that, or just know how to audition, know how to put, even if they're not doing acting, but just how to put themselves on camera, like all these other little things, because it's not just actors, even though that's my core, but even people who just want to be influencers, want to be in front of the camera, want to like create content, want to learn that whole side of the business and stuff like that. And so if I wanted to do something like that, what is a way that you think and that I could use OpenClaw to like essentially crawl like Reddit or something like that to be able to find people who are new, who are interested in acting or something, right? I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
Okay. Go to whatever your favorite LLM is, Grok, ChatGPT, whatever. Ask it. Say, hey, can you search Reddit for, and then insert something and say, give me the last 5 posts on whatever topic. If it gives you answers, OpenClaw is just like your own system in your own little machine or your own little virtual private server. By the way, the virtual private servers are like $6 a month. And Noah, I don't know if you guys know Noah. Noah, I had a call with him and he said, yeah, you can just get a VPS and set up your own OpenClaw on that. You don't even need your own Mac Mini. It's like $6. Or if you want, $12 a month, and then you can add on the other parts you need. But if you can get an answer from ChatGPT, you can do it your own self. The difference is your own stuff turns into your system that you can create. ChatGPT just gives you answers and it's part of the collective. That's all it is. Does that make sense? Thank you. I was wondering about that because I'm like, and ironically enough, I actually bought a Mac Mini, I think back in November or something, because I was going to be doing so much of this work and a lot of AI stuff. I needed more compute versus my MacBook Pro that I had. So I'd actually already had one of these before that came out. And I was like, oh my God, is that the universe aligning me with that? But yeah, that was one of the things I was wondering. Yeah, so having it more localized, are you, some of the things I thought about, and again, I haven't deeply researched it enough, but are you worried about any concern issues? Because security issues, that's one of the things that I haven't got to dive into, but I know people have mentioned that. Like, I don't just use one LLM. I keep things segregated and stuff because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I don't want it knowing all of my stuff. You know what? I'm kind of funny about that. Yeah, well, sure. I mean, it's a computer. It is connected to the internet, so there's always security concerns. Okay, but if you're going to connect, the totally interesting thing about OpenClaw is right now it's super hot and everyone is working on it. There are like 600 or 800 developers that are adding skills and checking things. You can just go to OpenClaw and then just go security, or if you have it running and you can just say, hey, do the security check, and it'll just do it for you. And here's the cool thing about OpenClaw. I put it on its own Mac Mini. I gave it its own Apple ID and its own email address. And I gave it access to that machine, not my network, not any of my other stuff, just that machine. And so I can just go, hey, do the security update. Check if you can go ahead and make the changes. Whatever you need to make the changes, just make the changes. And it'll just do it itself. So
I think I just play with it. I just need to dip in and kind of play with it. It's kind of one of those things where you hear about it, but until you've actually like researched it yourself a little bit or tried it out, you're not gonna know.
Okay, so here's how I did it. I put one machine on the screen and I put the Mac Mini on the other screen, and I told this screen, what do I do next? And then I realized I needed it on the same machine. So I used one machine. I used Brave browser. I opened up a profile and I logged into my whatever one it was, a ChatGPT or Grok or whatever. And I said, I'm doing this install. I'm going to copy and paste. You give me one instruction at a time. I will paste the results. You tell me the next instruction. And then that is exactly how I installed the whole thing. So I took it as if I have one of my clients who says, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, cool. You know how ChatGPT is? Yeah. Okay. I want to install OpenClaw. Where do I go? Click here, download this. Okay. Now what? Open a terminal. How do I do that? Okay. Click here. Okay. Open the terminal. What do I put in? Put this in. I got this result. It errored. Oh, change it. It literally walked me through step by step by step by step without having AI available. And this, I probably wouldn't have been able to get it fully configured and running. But because we have some AI tool and OpenClaw, which is free, just download it yourself. You will need to create a API key to whichever your favorite is. I'm using Kimmy K25, but you can just ask it, how do I do this? How do I do that? How much should I put in? Should I recharge it at $10 or $20? You literally can use AI to teach you how to do every single step to install the AI OpenClaw on your little Mac Mini or your Windows laptop or whatever you got.
I love it. Justin, I just want to ask something after you because I saw that you raised your hand. I would so do that. But I do have another question related to this because I do have a challenge that I'm dealing with that I would love to hear any of your thoughts or Justin's thoughts.
Yeah, no, go for it, Yvonne. I was just gonna ask Andy if he could tell us about like, did he create a brand new email address for that MacBook or that Mac Mini? And because like, or did he use the same email that he uses for other things? Like,
Created a new one. I went to Google and I said, make a new email address. I got a new Apple ID. It is its own separate, unique, separated, segregated entity. If I don't want it anymore, I just unplug it.
nice. Okay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, back over to you, Yvonne, and then yeah, then we'll go over to I want to hear from Jason and Cherie as well. But yeah, go Yvonne, all you.
And I got to give a shout out to Jason. You had sent me a DM by like a month or so ago, and I'm so sorry. I did not forget about you with that. I'm trying to stay focused, so I haven't responded to you because I'm just trying to make sure I keep out the noise, and I'm just doing Signal because one of the things that I'm having now, and this just might be part of it. One of the challenges that I'm having now with building my newsletter is and I am using AI, but I'm like being very meticulous with doing that, like making sure I'm putting in my own personal input, and I'm doing it in a very special way. And then obviously I'm editing my articles myself, reading through them, adding certain things, certain angles that are from my professional experience. But one of the things that I'm realizing, again, this might just be part of the journey, but I'd love to hear any of your takes, is that's something that I was looking to be able to use, right? Like this is one of the things, even though AI helps condense a lot of that time, it is super time consuming to do those articles, right? Like I'm noticing like it's sucking a lot of my time, even just to write them. And then obviously I'm doing the images and stuff. By the way, I also have to share Beehive. If you guys haven't used this yet, Beehive now they are rocking it over there. They now have an AI image generator within their ecosystem, and I tested it out with some of the new articles yesterday because I've been going to Canva and and Getty Images and places like that, because I like to use, high end quality real images, and then sometimes I have to use them of celebrities of what I'm doing as well, and that's a whole nother ball game. But like even just curating things like that, like when I have to get certain images of like an article I did with Leonardo DiCaprio, I have to make sure that I'm having the proper licensing for that, or that I'm actually giving credit to the original person, right? It's a whole nother thing that you have to do when you're doing like celebrity and famous people and stuff like that. So you give credit to the original photographer and stuff for the licensing use. But even just going to those different things to do that, like if I had an article on someone new, like I'm having to spend a lot of time on doing that. So I'm wondering, is that something that OpenClaw might be like good for me to do? Like where I can have the agents basically go, I'm going to be doing an article on The Rock, say, right? Like I'm going to be doing one on him, and I need to get Getty Images and blah, blah, blah. I'm still having to pick a lot of that stuff out. So I don't know if it's just because I'm making my stuff high end quality. I just feel like it's taking me longer than I want for me to produce the results that are necessary, having to do it myself. And I haven't hired someone, because I am going to be hiring someone to start doing some of the articles to take that. But I just need to like condense that time.
I use uh, I use AI the opposite. I write and I make it edit. So I created it's what I call your personal brand blueprint, which is a voice print, a targeted ICP, and my superpower. And then I run everything I write through that, and it produces something that sounds exactly like me, but the best edited version of me. And so that's the way I do it. So because of that, my production time decreased because I don't worry about my grammar or the exact punctuation. I just brain dump the overall idea, the 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 main. So I typically write like this: I have a main idea, I have some reason why it happened, I have some purpose for what to do with it, I have some action items to do there, and I write it in kind of that format all the time for everything, and then I just brain dump that in those kind of chunks, and then I just give it to my editor, and I just let the editor run it. That's what I call the brand blueprint. The whole brand blueprint engine is just, it's that. It is a, give me an idea about my stuff, use my voice print, make it the best version of me. And that's how I produce all of my content.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thanks for that masterclass there, Andy. And yeah, great questions, Yvonne. And yeah, I mean, I think that was my main question, and Andy answered. So yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna do it, pull the trigger, I'm gonna set up a brand new email account, a brand new Apple ID, just to keep it separate, so it doesn't have access to my all my other stuff. Because yeah, I'm with Yvonne. Like I've been a bit, on the fence because of security concerns. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason why you can't navigate that in its own environment, and a pro tip for what I do when it comes to some of these, like, new browsers that are, actively doing tasks, like Comet browser, Strawberry browser. Like, these are things I was experimenting with before OpenClaw, um, because and Manus for that matter, is, you just want to be careful on, migrating all your passwords over from like your Chrome browser to these other browsers, right? Go one at a time is what I suggest, right? So don't just import and export the whole password manager over to, another browser that you're going to be experimenting with. Just take it one by one. So if it's wanting me to log into LinkedIn, great. It prompts me to log into LinkedIn. I've signed into LinkedIn one at a time. I don't just export everything. So that's just my personal preference. You can do whatever you want, but that's just kind of what I've done in the last, 2 years since I've been experimenting with this stuff. So, okay, great. Let's go over to Jason real quick, and then we'll go to Shiri next. So, Jason, welcome. How's it going? Good to see you, man.
Hey, Justin. Hi, Yvonne, Andy, Upwell, Dan, Antonio. It's good to see a lot of familiar faces here. How are you doing, Justin? Because I know you've been sick over the last few weeks.
I'm doing better, thankfully. Yeah, just on the tail end of this cold here. I was doing good for about a week, and then my daughter brought something home from school. You know how that is. So me, me and my wife got sick again, but but yeah, kind of on the mends here. So yeah, I just can't wait to get back to my, working out and, my normal routines, so I'm all about those routines, so, but yeah, and I lost a client, Jason. I lost a 7K a month client, so that set me back a little bit. But yeah, just on the hunt for the next client and the next, good deal. But yeah, have some good stuff going. So yeah, it's always good to see you, Jason. Appreciate you tapping in here, man.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm sorry you lost the client, but I know that the next one is around the corner. I don't want to use my catchphrase, but it's all about next move. It's all about what you're doing next. And I suppose that I've had my head down for the last kind of 6 weeks building this BNC, the Business Networking Club, because I trashed the Grow with X community because I just felt so many people were there for the wrong reasons. People thought it was about some sort of profile growth or trying to get more engagement. And anyone that's heard me before or talked to me before knows that's exactly what I'm the exact opposite of all of that stuff. It's not about any engagement or followers or any of that. It's about what you're doing, what you do with them. The people, I think most people haven't spoken to like 1% of their followers, haven't had conversations with them. So Spaces is always a good place to be able to do that. But yeah, so Business Networking Club is it's the lead generation tool that I've been using and teaching for the last like couple of years since I figured it all out on X. X is by far the hardest platform to sell any product or service on in the world. Not just social platform, it's just the hardest platform ever. You've got egos, you've got micro attention, you've got people hiding behind profiles, you don't know who they are, how do you target the right people, all of that kind of stuff. So I figured out a system. I know I've gone through that system with you and people in the community and stuff before, but you can see it kind of playing out with Business Networking Club. And what that is, it's a community on X. We've got 900 people almost since it started about 5 weeks ago. And it's just a very targeted way to be able to pull people into your ecosystem, into your environment, and then be able to nurture those people and give them products and services and use those people to help you deliver to clients. So we've now got a builder pool of 900 people that we can put briefs in for projects and they can work on those projects directly. They're doing Zoom calls every day in the community. So we've got all their emails. We've captured all their data as they're joining the community, as they come in. And those touch points that we always talk about, that's the big thing on X that you just can't control. You don't know if you're going to post something and who's going to see it next. You don't know what the algorithm is going to push it to. You've got no control over any of that stuff. So being able to have people in your community is just another touch point that's a little bit closer. We've got 350 people in DM groups from the 900 that we've got in the community. And then we've got Zoom calls running every day. And we're just trying to do much, much more than anyone else is doing. And the community members have put their hands up and want to be a part of that. So it's kind of, you build the right framework and you build the right environment. And then you get hopefully you give loads and loads of value, more than anyone else is doing in that way. And you separate yourself from anything else in the platform, and suddenly they're coming into X just to go to there, just to log into that DM group, see what's going on, see what the chats are happening, see what's happening in there. And leads come mainly from there, but I'm also doing like some like performance-based only stuff now as well. So it's kind of like Jason Claw, which is, people pay a set fee and then I just do all their marketing for them. And I take a percentage of everything that's coming through. So it's good for them. They can build more stuff and not have to worry about the marketing, which is the thing they stress out and, hate the most. And they can just outsource it to me. I do everything. And if I've vetted it, if it's a great product, then, it's a fantastic project to work on. There's, as you were mentioning about OpenClaw, one of them is called VibeClaw. It's vibeclaw.dev. and it's just started this week, and it's a local web-based OpenClaw. So you can have a local OpenClaw instance, but it's online. So that's cool and interesting. So yeah, just been busy, but it's good to be here and good to talk to you. I haven't spoken to you for a while. That was why I've been so busy with my head down, getting all the structure and everything for the community set up and everything.
Yeah, man, Jason, congrats on the progress you've been making. And yeah, you've been one of those OGs that has been on this platform that I've been learning from, the very beginning. And I was on driving to a client's yesterday and I was listening to Neil Patel, our good buddy, digital marketer who I've been following for like, 20 years. And he was saying that, X has become, he's like, hey, don't sleep on X, because for B2B, it's a good opportunity. It's a really great opportunity and it's a growing opportunity. And people discount it, they sleep on it. But, and this is what the data has told us, right? Based on, Neil's webinar yesterday, the costs are increasing for paid ads. LinkedIn, Google ads, Facebook ads, and even with X ads, they're affordable right now. And I mentioned it, a while ago. I know Ani's running X ads. She's really crushing it with her newsletter subscriptions, getting for like, a dollar 50, per subscriber, which is, incredible, right? Anything under like, $2 is pretty good to acquire an email address. That's great, generally speaking. So yeah, so Neil did point out like, hey, don't sleep on X. It's a good opportunity for B2B. And the founder-led approach, which, I know Andy and we've all been talking about it, but if you're a founder and you're an entrepreneur and you have a small team, like you have to have a founder-led personal brand strategy around content and, doing outreach. I mean, look at Tyler Dirk of Beehive. I mean, he is like a great model to follow of what he's been able to accomplish. So, but yeah, back over to you, Jason.
Yeah, sorry, I was just taking a sip of water when you said, but yeah, I was watching Neil yesterday as well. I think I was on the same live as you as well, and it was really interesting. There was a lot of paid ad stuff, but they were talking about organic and they were talking about LLM. Cited search coming from LLMs now, and he did mention about X, and I think that just reminded me. I know I was sort of gabbling through everything, but I think the best way I've been able to find the right targeted people, because it's so difficult to find those people here, is to look for intent signals. So you don't look at search. You're not typing in job title. It's not like LinkedIn. So you don't do anything like that. Instead, you're looking for very specific profiles that only your ideal customers would follow. So don't think about like Alex Hormozy or Gary Vaynerchuk or, don't think broad like that, but think like maybe a small SaaS business that's got 5,000 followers or 2,000 followers. And it's very, very focused to CFOs, for instance. It might be like a subsidiary of Salesforce or one of their kind of, satellite projects that works off the back of Salesforce. It could be a Shopify, it's like skin for Shopify or a plugin for Shopify. These profiles are scattered around, and you find that only the people that would, if you can find that those profiles and only those people would follow those profiles, then that's your target within those profiles, and looking at those followers, the people that have followed that account in that way. So try to think of it like the intent, rather than, scrolling for hours, trying to find people, following people, engaging in their content, doing what all the big accounts told you to do, because that's just how you get more followers. That's not how you get more business. So that they grew their accounts that way to get more followers, but they haven't got a business. They haven't even got a business behind their stuff. A lot of these big accounts come to me for help. It's like, how can I start something? How can I monetize all of this? Because I haven't got anything. So you have to listen to the advice of people that are doing the things in the right order, rather than just listening to the loudest voices. I think that's really important too. And just be really specific about those audiences. As they are here, they're just not as obvious as LinkedIn. You can't just type in a job title and get like 5,000 results, and it's all like easy outreach. You have to control the touch points, dig through the dirt to find the right people, bring them into your ecosystem and keep them there so that they can't never like forget about you. And if you can do something like that, then you're on the right track. I really believe it's the only way to sell anything here, because everything else is just such a mess. Everything else is so scattered and so difficult. But yeah, I really enjoyed that yesterday. I thought it was a great call that he was doing. I hope he does some more of them. Always like seeing Neil.
Yeah, he's one of the OGs, man. I've been following him for so many years. I remember, his Neil Patel blog. I used to leave comments on the blog, blog when blog commenting was a big strategy, right? And it worked well back then. I mean, I remember when I first launched my agency, one of the biggest resources that I got for lead gen was LinkedIn groups. And there's still LinkedIn groups out there, but I mean, I was getting between 100 and 200 leads per month just from LinkedIn groups back in 2009, 2010, 2011. So again, what works then may not work now. But to Jason's point, like you have to be adaptable, you have to pay attention to the key intent signals. And really in marketing, there's two critical signals that we pay attention to religiously, and that's interest and behavior, right? Interest and behavior. So, pick your CRM of choice, pick your email newsletter platform of choice. It doesn't matter. But when you're able to look at the data and see, hey, is this person opening up my email? Is this person engaging with my content? Is this person opening up my DMs? Are they replying? Am I getting attention? Am I saying the right thing? And even what was impressive with Vladimir's demo yesterday, he shared with me was it's like, people like to send, let's say 10,000 emails a month, cold email, but his strategy is looking at, scraping Reddit and scraping the social channels as well on top of, who your ICP is, and then, sending very targeted, specific, personalized messaging to those, 3 to 500 of those ICPs. And that's, because you want quality over quantity. Now, quality and quantity is great, but in the beginning, before you start to scale, you really want to emphasize quality over quantity. And when it comes to lead generation, the same thing, right? I've experienced this recently with one of my clients, a chiropractic client. So, they were getting Facebook form submissions, right? Pretty significant, but the quality was really bad, right? They weren't, they didn't have money, they weren't converting, fill in the blank, right? So we bypassed, even though it is a good lead source to get form submissions, the quality was not there. So how did we pivot? Well, we directed the traffic directly to a landing page, which has no distractions. And the primary focus of that landing page, the singular focus, is for them to fill out the form and schedule. And so, we're testing that, we're experimenting with that, but already it seems to be, a much lower cost per lead compared to before, and the quality is better because I'm targeting more people that have budget. You can target, higher higher net worth individuals with Facebook. Most people don't know that, but you can. So we want quality. We want buyers. I like buyers, right? I like people that spend money, and even there's a pro tip for everyone here with when it comes to Facebook ads is you can say engaged buyers, engaged shoppers as part of your pool. So what Facebook will do is it'll pick up on those key signals of others who are engaged shoppers on Facebook, and it'll put your ad in front of them as long as it meets the other criteria. So it's really powerful, really powerful. And Jason, you're gonna love these stats. I just launched a couple campaigns yesterday or this week. I'm getting a 12% click-through rate on one of them, average in the last few days. The other one is 3.49%, and the other one is 6%. So yeah, these are great numbers. Right out the gate. I've literally just launched it like, this week. So yeah, I mean, pay attention to the data, pay attention to the key signals. And again, marketing is all testing, but you got to have a system, right? You got to have a system, and Jason has a system. I have a system, and really, when you're selling the system, you're selling the results because the system helps get the results. you can't just do spray and pray type of marketing. It's not going to cut it. You have to have a holistic, comprehensive strategy. And so, but yeah, good stuff, Jason. It's great thanks for checking in here, man. It's been a minute and yeah, I hope things are going well with the boys. My daughter's going to be 5 in July. I can't believe it. She's learning to ride her bike without training wheels now. So, that's the phase of life we're in right now, which is exciting and just, cherishing every moment, because all she wants to do is, hang out with dad and play with dad right now. So it's like, I gotta get my OpenClaw going so I can spend more time with her. So, but yeah, great to have you here, Jason, and great to have everyone else down below. Wow, we got a lot of familiar faces here. And please feel free to hang out, Jason, for a few minutes. We're gonna be closing up at 7:45. So, we'll get to final word in a second, but I want to recognize a few people. So we have Lift out there. Good to see you, Lift, and Dan Ryan. Good to see you, Dan Ryan. Dan Ryan was our first ever Ronin to sign up. So thank you, Dan, and hope you're doing well. And he was the first ever guest on Be Real X Talks in the Model X Tesla that we do, the show that I run. It's a passion project. So good to see you, Dan. We have Anna, aka AVR, who's our newest Ronin as well. She's a business owner. And so good to see you, Anna. And don't forget to send me your reply in the DM after watching the onboarding video because I'm waiting to hear back from you on that, Anna. So no pressure. I know you got a busy schedule, but make sure you do that. We got Antonio as well. He's the founder of uh, Xscribe, which helps transcribe X spaces, which you're off the hook today, Antonio, because I'm recording the Zoom, so you're all good, brother. And then we have Crafted Workflows. We have Jodelle. Good to see you, Jodelle. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're well. She's famous now. She's on the book tour, so she pops in when she can. Don't forget about us little people over here, okay, Jodelle, on the speaking circuit. So, and good to see you, Heather. Heather, she's a mom of 7 and she's homeschooling, and so man, that's the hardest job in the world. So hat tip to you, Heather. Good stuff that you're doing over there, and keep up the great work. And thanks for tapping in here. Really appreciate you and your energy. And we got Stardris. Stardris is here. He's a younger entrepreneur. He's closing deals, running his agency, running ads. So yeah, and many others down below. Really appreciate you guys being here. Please like and repost the space. We're gonna go for a few more minutes here. But before I do, let's check in with Yvonne. Thanks for grabbing the co-host spot. And yeah, so what are your thoughts on some of the things that Jason's been revealing and what he's been able to build in such a short amount of time, which is very impressive. And yeah, this topic today is Wisdom Wednesday. How do you get leads, and then which channel? Because again, not all channels are created equal. But yeah, back over to you, Yvonne.
Yeah, I love what Jason was sharing, right? That's one of those things where until you've actually done this game, like uh you don't know that. And important to know your intention, right? Like I love so many things that he shared because he's right. Like it's crazy how many people, it's like that video that you sent me about that rock band or whatever that doesn't even have like a newsletter. Freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger. I keep touting him out. I don't know why. He's on my radar. But like even with some of the posts that he posted the other day that I had shared in the space, I think like 2 days ago, and just because he is so into people being healthy and like age is just a number, you know what I mean? Like don't ever think it's too old to get yourself in shape and all these other kind of things. And he was promoting and talking about his newsletter, asking people to join it and stuff. And you're right, like there, especially because with X, a lot of people, when they started monetizing, people went so much for the monetization. I mean, even I was doing that, right? I was hardcore learning a different side of social media, kind of being on the front end of it instead of behind the scenes, because I've done ads on Facebook and all that kind of stuff, but it's just a totally different thing that you have to learn. And that's one of the biggest things that I realized, which is why I'm not doing a lot of spaces myself right now, why I'm so grateful for you doing these spaces daily. because that way I'm able to still, I haven't even been able to post a lot of content and stuff because I'm like Jason said, head down, like building true foundational work and stuff, because you have to freaking have your newsletter, man. You got to have your own audience, like he was saying, because you can't control the algorithm, right? But you can control, like if you have your own newsletter, then you can control, I mean, you're like your own media outlet. You can control what it is you're producing, what it is you're putting out, the currency, the amount of time that you're doing that. I mean, it's just so much more control and much more of a direct connection with your audience, which I really love that about it. And so many people on here are, and dude, like honestly, like, I mean, I'm in the monetization program, you know, I got a couple, especially when they first started it, when it was how they had it previously, like the true ad rev share, when they had that, you know, it was nice, you know, chunk of change, right? When I was getting that, but then they changed everything. And that's the thing. You don't have the control, right? That's why it's so important to have your own business, to have your own stuff, because you are the one that controls. You're the one that controls how much distribution you get. You're the one who controls like how much is actually going out there and what your ROI could be based on what it is that you're putting out there and producing and getting results. And so many people on here, like they are focused on just creating the content and stuff, but they don't have any type of newsletter, any type of product that they're actually selling. Like I feel like it's kind of like this hope and a wish and a dream kind of thing where you're floating around and you're just hoping like that. That's why I'm not doing that game. I haven't been doing that for quite a long time. Like when they paused everything, I feel like that was supposed to happen. Like I always look at when things like that happen, and it may be like, oh my God, this freaking sucks. But I'm like, well, what am I supposed to learn from this? Because clearly there's a reason why this is happening and something that I'm supposed to do, or I'm supposed to pivot or whatever. And that's one of the things that I've done, because they're just literally making money off of, you know, posting a lot of stuff. I mean, some of them I will say, like Nick Sorter, like I saw him from the very beginning. I've known him from early days, like when he was on Mario No Full Spaces. And I actually know Mario back from Clubhouse days, right? But the thing that you have, this is why it's so important to know your identity, you guys, and what you really want, because you can get sucked up into that game of kind of doing that, you know, maybe wanting a big account, maybe wanting to do that. But on X especially, you're a slave to the trends. You're a slave to the news. And do you want to be a slave to the news? Like I did it for a little minute, right? Because I'm always going to try things out and test it out and stuff, and I wanted to see what's going to happen. But that's not who I am. That's not what I want to do. Right? That's not what I want to build. And so many people don't even realize that. And you're not really making a lot of money doing that, to be perfectly honest. I mean, like sometimes now people, we're putting so much time and so many hours in doing that stuff, and you're only freaking getting like a couple $100. Like, why would you do that when you can sell freaking banger products, or, you know, have a freaking course? I mean, whatever your thing is, right? And make like $3,000, you know, with one client, with one freaking sell, and add a lot more value to someone. And it's just so important for people to know that. I'm not saying that creating content isn't important. It definitely is, to be consistent, to stay present, to stay top of mind. All these other kind of things have that consistency. But what are you really building? Like, what is your ultimate goal? What do you really want to create? And you got to really sit with that and figure that out for yourself. And the thing that I'm in the courses that I'm doing, the 3-day challenge I'm doing with Ani, and then also the other one that we're doing, which is going to be a more intensive, that's a big part of what I'm going to be doing at the beginning, is kind of getting that mindset. I'm going to literally infuse a lot of my professional coaching and executive coaching into those particular things, because it is sometimes hard for people to figure that out for themselves. So I'm having a lot of guided questions and things like that, that's interactive, to kind of help people, you know, whittle that down and figure that out. Because on here, like Justin's saying, it is one of the hardest platforms to grow on, right? It's definitely one of the hardest ones to monetize on the audience and things like that, because there is a different mindset in the people that are here on X. Like the objections that you get with people, I think there are a lot higher obstacle objection type situations versus people who are on TikTok and on Instagram, because it's a different type of mindset that's here. It's very information heavy here. People do deep research. I mean, it's beautiful, you know, for due diligence and discernment and all these other kind of things. But, you know, there is also that it brings up a lot of objections with stuff like that. And is that your, your typical target market of who it is that you're trying to reach. And it's something to keep in mind. I think that's, and I'll land with this, sorry, Rain, but I think that's one of the reasons why people can get so discouraged on X, because of that kind of thing, when they don't realize it's an information news platform. If you don't pivot with how you're doing your personal branding or whatever it is you're putting out there to basically cater to that particular market, doesn't, then you're not going to do as well. And it's just because it's the nature of the beast of X. And that's just a whole nother freaking ballgame. That's why there could literally be an entire class on X. But knowing what you want, right? Are you wanting to get like a freaking measly $500 every 2 weeks off of posting content and spending all that time, energy, and effort? Or are you going to build some freaking empire, badass, legendary stuff? Because that's what I'm freaking doing. And for me, I think that that's much more important. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, it's like, don't focus on, just if you get ad revenue, like that's a bonus. Like that should not be your focus. It should just be like, oh wow, look, this happened. I got a little bit of revenue. Awesome, amazing. But that should not be your focus. That's just a byproduct of, your growth and your engagement and stuff like that. But don't focus on that as that's not a business strategy. And even going viral is not a business strategy. It's not a sustainable one. So that should not be your focus. Your focus should be, hey, how can I get a core group of 100 people that are really engaged with what I'm building and that are willing to invest in themselves and in the movement and or they need my help with their agency or their marketing services, right? So that's my focus here is really helping people make more money, bring in more revenue and yeah, like 90-day sprints. If you're attending these spaces and you're not bringing in more revenue after 90 days, like there's a problem. Like you got to hit me up on the back channel. Like we got to talk about that because that is the focus. That is the focus. And like Jason teaches and many others, having that, it's not about the number of followers. It's about the number of prospects and buyers that you get on these spaces in the timeline, in the DMs, other channels as well, LinkedIn, and yeah, that's what it's all about and supporting others, right? Like I support others. I sponsor Famous. I sponsor Christelle. I sponsor, Vladimir on his lives. Like, you got to support others, right? Givers gain, and it can't be all about, me. It's got to be about we, right? So, but yeah, final word over to you, Jason. And then I got to close this out. But yeah, and then we'll go to Yvonne for a final word, and then we'll wrap up here, guys. So thank you again. Great space. All right, over to you, Jason. Final word.
Yeah, no, thanks, Justin. And I was just going to say, like, great points from Yvonne. I think if the thing about the revenue share is if it's not just about like the pattern of activity that you're doing. It's if you're aiming for that alone, you're going to end up in 6 months' time with you've done all the wrong moves, you've got all the wrong followers, and they're not gonna. They're not. All they're doing is reciprocating with your content. All you've found is people that want to engage in your stuff because you're engaging in their stuff, and that's just not gonna work. I've been in social media for 20 years. I've seen that stuff happening from engagement groups, engagement pods, all that stuff that was been going on from years and years ago. Back in early days of MySpace, that was happening. And it just reminds me of that route. If you go down that road and try and monetize anything later on, and you are in a mess, you know how many touch points there are needed now on this platform, especially because it's micro attention. No one's coming here to buy anything. As Yvonne was saying, you don't go, I wonder what's on X that I can buy today. No one thinks like that. But you do think about that with TikTok. If you spend 20 minutes on there scrolling through, you bought 3 hand washes and a towel and something. I don't know. You probably bought something. The longer you spend on the platform, and same goes with Instagram. You're not doing that here. Everyone's super smart. Everyone's coming here to be informed. Everyone has done the things that you've done already, 5 years ago. There's lots of ego at play. There's lots of really experienced people and the smartest people in the world on this platform. So you've got to really take that into account with anyone that you're dealing with, anyone that you're trying to talk to, anyone that you're trying to sell products and services to. Cold stuff isn't going to work. You've got to warm them up into an environment where you can control the touch points. then you've got something. Then you've got something tangible. I've shown my system to people. I've done it for free, and they've kind of sat there scratching their chins and, I'm not sure about that. I've done it for a little amount of money, and people have gone, oh, it's so much work, Jason. I can't do all that. And then I've done it for people that charge like 10 grand a month or something, and they're like, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's incredible. We just got a $2 million client from this. So it is a system that I only talk about it because it works, and I feel like it's still this sort of quiet, Jason's sort of quiet world in the corner of X, and everyone else is still doing the same things. But if anyone wants to talk to me about it, it's all on my profile. You can see like the system. I've pinned it on there. You can have a look. There's a diagram. It shows you exactly all the steps to do. And I want people to just kind of have a better experience here and find the ways that are proven to work, rather than this kind of post and hope stuff that we see so much of. But anyway, rant is over. Thank you very much, Justin. I'm glad you're feeling better, and I know your next client is just around the corner, because you're doing the right actions all the time. And well done on those click-through rate numbers. They're incredible. So yeah, it's good to be here, actually, because like I say, I haven't been here for a while. I've been busy with everything, but I don't want to take up too much time. I'm out of breath. I feel like I run a marathon.
Yeah, always great to have you, Jason. Thanks, man. It was great to connect with you. And guys, I pinned above here Jason's growth stack system for you guys to look at the mind map of how it really works. He's walked me through it plenty of times, and it works. I mean, I can tell you it works. And there's business opportunities on here for sure. I've gotten clients, I've talked to potential investors, like, they're all here on X. It's just having the right conversation with the right person at the right time, with the right budget, on the right medium, with the right message. And once you have those ingredients, like, you're good to go. And, don't forget the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. That's a definition of insanity. Um, and so make sure you see your way for that. And this is why we do 90-day sprints, right? If you focus on something for 90 days and it doesn't work, it doesn't move the needle, and your bank account doesn't get bigger, then it's time to pivot. It's time to test something else out. And you don't know it until you live it. That's another quote that I always say, like, you don't know it until you live it. So, Jason's been living it, Yvonne's been living it, I've been living it. Dan Ryan's been living it. Anna's been living it. Antonio's been living it, right? Heather's living it. So you don't know it until you live it. And just, take that into account as you connect with, many people on this platform and people off this platform. Like, don't sleep on the offline opportunities. In fact, I hit up my good buddy yesterday who runs one of the biggest San Diego networking groups, and I told him I want to come speak at his event. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And so, we're working on, coordinating that. So, and he's a fellow fractional, like, CMO that I've known for over 15 years. So, we've been doing digital marketing alongside each other for that long. So, so yeah, good stuff there. But yeah, let's go final word over to Yvonne, and then I'll close this out. Yeah, thanks so much, Yvonne, for grabbing the co-host. A great space today.
Yeah, it has been a fire series. I love so many value points hit here. And I love some of the things that Jason shared. And I'm so sorry, dude. I was following you. Like, I don't know what happened. I just followed you back. Apparently, that's actually happened a couple times where, like, I've been following someone and then all of a sudden, like, because I haven't seen you in a minute too. And then I just looked and it's like follow. I'm like, what? I was already following you. Anyway, but yeah, so many things that you said. Like, I love how you said going viral is not a strategy, right? Like, and I can attest to that, right? You guys, I've had, I think, like 5 or 6 posts that I've had that have gone viral, like over millions, right? Like, one of them, I think the highest one I had was like 8.9 million or something like that with some of my art when I was creating that kind of stuff. But I've even gotten likes from Elon, when I was like playing the game and stuff like that. And Even like Alex Utopia, right? He's gotten some reposts from Yvonne. I mean, he's doing some fire stuff with his creations and everything, but it's very much like you said, Jason. Like, I think one of the things what I notice is there are a lot of correlations to this kind of game over here to relate that are very similar to Hollywood. It's really interesting to me. That's one of the things that I did not expect, but there's no one shot and then you're done, right? Unless you're doing the $1 million contest thing, right? And then you might, but there's not really like a get rich quick kind of thing on here, or like, bam, make it happen kind of thing. And I think a lot of people have that where they're like, oh my gosh, I want to go viral. And then all of a sudden I'm like on the map, and then I'm like a known kind of person. I'm not saying that that's not possible, right? People do that on freaking TikTok. They can do it on here. And then all of a sudden, people are talking about you. But the thing that people have that's a misconception there is having the viral thing is not the end all be all. It is access to opportunity. It is leverage. It's putting you on the map, right? It doesn't mean that it stops there. And I think that that's one of the big things that people underestimate. That's why you got to build your own stuff in the background, know what you really want, and build some foundational stuff. Because if I had already had my things built out, then I would have so much more traffic and so many more, subscribers to my newsletter, and probably already sold like a ton of my products and things, because that was essentially access to opportunity. It's a leverage point to be able to get more people to come in, right? But one of the big, it's a way to grab that attention, right? But then you want to leverage that. It's like even a movie star or someone who's on the come up and gets their big break. Okay, they might like all of a sudden now they're out and they're in the market, and a lot of people are bringing buzz and a lot of people are talking about it. But you still have to do that work. You still have to make sure you stay present. You still have to make sure it doesn't end there. That's when the access to opportunities that can really branch you out like a big giant beautiful tree, right? Not just one straight branch, not just a one shot. You want to be a big full blooming oak tree, right? And I think that that's one of the big things that people don't realize. It's important to know all this stuff, but don't let it stop there, right? You don't want that 15 minutes of fame. You want to freaking, with whatever it is that you're building, you want to make sure that you're building something that's lasting, because that's how real, true wealth and abundance comes into your life, not just from a one hit it and quit it type of thing. Like, and lastly, I'll say, like, even if I had won one of the $1 million contests or something, like, this is facts. Even if I had won one of those, right? And I'm sure there are going to be more opportunities like that. I would not all of a sudden think, and I think this goes back to mindset, but this is so important, right? How are you thinking about these things? Even if I won one of those, I'm not going to not build my business. I'm literally going to use that money as leverage to build all the other things. Because nowadays, to be perfectly honest, I'm not saying $1 million wouldn't be sweet to get in one freaking shot of winning a contest, but that's not enough to live on for the rest of your life. You need to have cash flow coming in. You use those things as opportunities, as leverage to build bigger branches, right? To build to the bigger bridge, so to speak, so that you have something that's truly lasting and withstands the test of time. And then also you as an individual expand beyond that moment too. And that's really the purpose of our life, in my opinion, is to continually be expanding just like the universe. So I'll land it there. Yvonne Sayers reminding you, don't ever let anybody dim your light.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yvonne. Yeah, I love your sign off, and it's your signature sign off. Everyone needs to have a signature sign off on Spaces, that's for sure. So, yeah, sustainable growth is what you really want, right? Sustainable growth. And, people will see your repetition, your consistency. They will acknowledge that. That helps build trust, establish your brand authority. And again, you just want to have a close group, a close knit community of people that know you, like you, trust you, that want to do business with you. Like I want to do business with my friends, right? I want to do business with my friends. I want them to be successful. I want to be successful. We want to be successful together. And that's why, I host these daily spaces on sales and marketing, because since now and everyone can build anything now. The only differentiation factor now is your personal brand in sales and marketing, right? All these builders, I see them all, putting up all these memes like, oh my gosh, I gotta do marketing. Like, man, how does this stuff work? And you have veterans like Jason and myself who've been doing this for 20 years. And it's like, we're still here, we're still building, we're still delivering on the foundations, the fundamentals that businesses want, which is, leads and revenue, right? And believe me, people are going to come to a revelation if, OpenClaw can't do it for them, they can't figure it out, they're going to hire people like Jason or myself or whatever your skill sets are. Like, Antonio, he's very technical. Dan Ryan, he's very technical. You can help these business people out because you have the technical ability that they may not have. And there's always three types of people, right? There's people that are below your level that you can help level up. There's people at your level that you can collaborate with. And then there's people above your level who you learn from and you aspire to become. And so where are you at in the journey, right? And who are you supporting in that journey? So great space again. Thanks everyone for joining. I got to run here, but just remember at the end of our lives, we'll ask ourselves four simple questions. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? And did I make a difference? Until next time, keep making a difference. Build that mind, build that body, build that business, build that bank account, but most importantly, build that legacy. So stay healthy, stay humble, and stay hungry. We'll see you at the top. All right, much love, guys. Check out the Revenue Ronin newsletter. I put it in the purple pill, and check out Jason's growth stack framework. It's really helpful. It's a great playbook. So execute on it. Don't just look at it. Execute on it, and just keep building. And we'll see you back tomorrow in the Revenue Ronin community, 6:45 a.m. Pacific. And thanks again, Yvonne, for co-hosting. Really appreciate it, and Jason for jumping in as well. All right, guys, make it a productive, but most importantly, profitable day, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, much love.